Residents Association to come forward. Clarrie Pearce, I think, yes? Welcome.
Thank you. Mayor, councillors, staff, good afternoon and thank you for inviting me here. I saw some of you this morning in my other capacity, but today I'm Clarrie from Stapleton's Road. I always try and make that distinction. I'm not here to ask you for more money or any monuments. I don't want a swimming pool, a library, any of that stuff, so hopefully this will be quite easy for you. And I threw away all the stuff I'd done, because in previous years I'd done photographs and details and showing all the damage. And the only thing that I managed to do was get somebody to recognise that Skirt weren't paying for footpaths. And that didn't actually do me any good in our area anyway. The latest ITE meeting had a schedule, 5 pages of it, of footpath and roading repairs. There's not a single entry in there for the northwest Richmond neighbourhood. Now I know this is put forward for you based upon work done by staff, but I'm just making the point that there was nothing there. In the latest annual plan, luckily there's 5 roads, and possibly if it got passed the other day at ITE, 6 roads that have been put forward for renewal, but they've all been pushed out so far that it's not possible for somebody like me to see them. So they're 3 years out. In the annual plan, so they were in the annual plan, but they've been pushed out, so I can't see them. North Avon Road consultation last year said that we were going to have construction in February. Now, unfortunately, I have to go and see my doctor more often than I wish to, and he's got his premises on North Avon Road. And every time I go, he says to me, "What's happening with the road?" And I have to say, I don't know. And none of the residents know because we haven't been told. I was invited to the Papanuianis Community Board meeting about the annual plan, and I went along and I talked about some of the issues we have, and I saw their written submission to you, and I was bitterly disappointed because it didn't say much. But then I saw the chair present to you on Tuesday night, and she said, "Here's a neighbourhood that's lost a great deal, gained very little, has broken roads, broken footpaths, high deprivation, and elected members should advocate for residents." And I thought, that's when I threw away all the slides I had. I thought, that's great. She's saying that as a community board, they're recognising that we've lost a lot, we've gained little, we've got broken roads and footpaths, and we have a high rate of deprivation. So we're not the East. I think we're the tweeners, if you like, because we're stuck in an area that doesn't really get categorised and doesn't get discussed. When Have You Say came out, there's a lot of emphasis on that, but we were busted at the time. I actually went, but very few people from our area would have gone, and my little bit about fixing our neighbourhood probably got lost in the back of another sticky. All we want is somebody to rebuild our neighbourhood. We don't need regeneration, we don't even need social activity or any of those things. We just want the basic infrastructure rebuilt for us. And then to top that off, we've got the Dudley Creek flood remediation. Now, that original report said that the option going through our neighbourhood had the highest social impact of all the options that were put forward. To date, there's no obvious sign of any mitigation of that social impact. There's a huge daily impact on the people that live in our area. People who can't sell their houses because they're blocked off and fenced off. There's dust, noise, there's no pedestrian access. You saved Petrie Park for us, but we can't walk to the darn thing. Just recently, Stapleton's Road got opened, and they said, we'll be back in 8 weeks to start work on the culvert again. So all of those people have all of this fencing and everything around their areas, while the street's left open to provide an alternative access while North Parade's closed. And I suggest that I bet my house on the fact that that's going to be more than 8 weeks because they've already used one of those weeks. It's got a very high impact on the local daycare there. There's sheep piling right outside and there's difficulty with access, and parents are already taking their children away from there. My granddaughter has gone to another one and she said to me on Monday, Will the new one have roadworks pop? And I was pleased to be able to say no, it won't. The effect on the children is significant. I personally believe that daycare centre may not survive. This morning I heard the Mayor talk about compromise, so I was listening. Although I had my other hat on, I'd have to say, so I'm not sure where the dividing line is there. But it's been like that since EQC. It's always been, we've been making compromises somewhere along the line. It's for the greater good. And we don't want more money, we just want you to move a bit of it into our neighbourhood in a timely fashion. We've been broken for a long time now. But the biggest thing I want you to do is make a significant change that has absolutely no cost on it at all. I want you to consider creating a culture of care, of social responsibility. Let the integrity and passion actually mean people, not go bull at a gate on delivering something. There's no integrity and passion in barging on through to create a new desk. But if you can look after the people while you build the desk, that's integrity, that's passion, and it's compassion. And so that's what I'd like to think that you as elected members can do, that you can influence the culture of the organisation to do that, and to put people first, and actually help neighbourhoods grow and go back to where they were. So all I'm asking is put our area into some form of acceptable normal. And that's really all I'm asking.
Pauline. Thank you. I do feel for you. I'm nearly, it is upsetting, Clarrie, and thank you for talking to us so frankly. Is it fair to say that most of the works through there are the Dudley?
Correct.
Yep.
Before that there was the Northern Relief Sewer and other sewer works, but they've been following, they just follow on.
And I think it's fair to say that your area around there is not the area that will benefit from those works either. It's more of the, so I can understand how you feel. But those works are due to be completed in June.
Sorry,
two years on time and on budget.
We just got a newsletter saying that they will start working again on the culvert in 8 weeks' time. That goes out beyond June. That's to start the St Albans culvert on Stapleton's Road. So somewhere there's some misinformation.
Oh, that's interesting. And so I'm sorry about that. The other thing is that when we talk to staff about communications, they are very reassuring that there's a high level of leaflet dropping and door knocking and communications, particularly with preschool that you were talking about.
Yeah.
So I just get a bit of a disconnect on what you were saying and what we get told.
I think that's why I asked that as an organisation, the organisation starts to care, because I think people can talk to local people and they can tell them how it's going to be, but if they're not doing true consultation, or if they're not taking into account the level at which some of those people operate, in other words, do they have the ability to fully process the information and the ramifications of what's been put in front of them? So I can go along and say, there you go, look, it's all explained, it's wonderful. But they don't necessarily understand what that means or the ramifications of it. And I think, as I said, I think it's the caring part of it.
So what would be, I mean, you've got two issues here. One of them that's that the work is going on for too long, but, and I think the St Albans culvert in all respect is actually not part of the main Dudley, it's actually part of the tributary that goes in. So you've got either an option of condensing the work down and getting it done and getting out, or dragging it on even longer. And so what is your solution? What do you want? Do you want more community meetings? Or do you want more firm timelines, or what?
I think if they'd slowed the program down so as to not hit a deadline that's somewhat arbitrary, then they could have freed up more road space and had fewer roads closed and impacted on less of... I know we often hear about get in, do it fast and get out, but this is so big that by going in and going fast, it effectively shuts everything down. So if Randall Street, for example, had been finished all the way up to North Parade, before they closed North Parade, then places like the daycare would have Randall Street as an access. But it isn't that way, and so the work on that continues while they open that one there, while they close this one here, while that one there is still already closed. you only have to try and drive to somewhere within that neighbourhood. We got a notice that said Stapleton's Road was open, so I thought, oh, I'll whip out the northern end. I got 3/4 of the way up to find a road closed sign. There'd been no advanced warning. The road's just closed.
Yeah, it's very
I
stressful.
know the area well, because if I take my car, then I usually slip round that way and down to New Brighton Road, turn right at the Palms and flick in behind to Lakewood Drive. But that's not, so I'm just trying to get, what are the boundaries of your area?
Sort of within North Avon Road, North Parade, Shirley Road and Hills Road.
Right, okay, I've got it.
Yeah, so I mean there is a huge impact in there, and it is a movable feast, isn't it? Every day it's different. I really understand that, but
Well, there's 3 programs of work that go in there. It's the skirt program, it's the land drainage recovery program, and it's our own, footpaths and various
Street
other
renewals,
bits and pieces. So, look, I mean, I'm sorry, but the 10 minutes it was up before you put up your hand, Yanni. So I'm just not. Don't need to take that little look. But I mean, we'll have a good look at this, but it may well be that we need to have a very specific communication with your area about all of the projects that are going on in the area, because I think I'm getting the sense that if it's not one thing, it's the other, and then it's the combination of closures that affects. I mean, I just stay away from that area at the moment. I know exactly what you're talking about.
Also, just the communication back on the North Avon Road.
Sorry?
Can we get something back on the North Avon Road about what's happening if it's being deferred to the centres?
Well, didn't you ask for it to be deferred?
No, I think that's it.
Okay. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. Just the communication.
Yes, we'll get a. I think a joined up communication for that whole area would be would help us all get on the same page anyway. Ian.